LeadSquared's implementation was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before, and I've rolled out pretty much every platform or software package that we have at Tandem. I've recommended LeadSquared to a number of people already. My recommendation would be for anyone to move to LeadSquared. I have used Salesforce, I have used HubSpot, I've used Zoho, I've used the main players. I'm familiar with on the home care side, Access Care, Alaya Care, Clear Care. Like LeadSquared blows them out of the water. Well, my name is Bree Castillo. I am the Chief Operating Officer at Tandem Care. We are a non-medical home care company with a very unique approach to care. So our services work where we deploy professional teams of 2 to 3 caregivers into different neighborhoods, and they work as a team to provide support throughout the day and week to various clients who have needs with activities of daily living. Salesforce was just overly complicated, and not the instance we had was not built for our needs. Salesforce, I would say, was the most difficult to train on just because every instance is so different. HubSpot we found to be a lot more customizable, very easy to use, but there was a lot of limitations within the system. And I identified within the first 6 months that this sales engine was not going to be as robust as we needed. It didn't have the types of forms that we needed and processes that we needed to be able to really automate pieces of the sales and the client journey. I was looking for a HIPAA compliant CRM, but ideally I was looking for a CRM that I could also repurpose to kind of be our EHR, where we could not only work active leads, but then also have profiles for our existing clients and be able to chart and do things there, which is what we've done with our LeadSquared implementation. The support from LeadSquared and just everything that kind of came with the process of them really getting you to think through what are your workflows, what are the steps. Like, you have to really, it almost creates structure that is desperately needed. We were a startup. Every single person you talk to is an engineer, has an engineering background. They really can understand like the technical pieces of the platform and really can help you figure out not just, well, this is what this feature does, but understand the use case and then really give a good suggestion on which part of the platform you could use for it. We found it to be just very flexible. And as I mentioned, we were able to turn all of our, not just our initial leads and inquiries, but all of our current clients and even our caregivers are all stored within LeadSquared, and the data flows seamlessly through each profile and is able to be captured. Every different type of, lead or contact type that we have has its own forms and activities associated to it. All 8 different departments and teams that interact with LeadSquared are able to have like their instances customized to them, which is something I'd never experienced in another CRM before. We have managed to have LeadSquared kind of be our EMR. So anytime we complete a visit, for example, the caregiver will do what's called charting or documentation. They leave a note, they fill out a couple of questions, do a survey with the client on their overall wellness. All of that information gets parsed on the back end and then sent into LeadSquared in different activities, forms, and notes, which makes it very easy to kind of sift through and sort those activities. The automation is always the thing that I talk about when I talk about LeadSquared, that just the level of detail you can get to. And there's always human error, and I feel like LeadSquared really reduces as much as possible the opportunity for a ball to get dropped or for a human error, because there's so much automation and tasks, and it gives visibility to everyone in the organization that it would be so difficult to miss something because everything's just already thought of for you. With the automation we've built into LeadSquared, we've been able to increase our responsiveness by over 40%. Before, of the leads that we had, about 30% of them we never got in contact with. That number has been reduced to under 5%, and the level of engagement we've gotten and the amount of really quality conversations we've been able to have has been increased by over 40%. There are so many automated touch points. She's able to really focus on the leads that are interested and qualified. And so she's able to handle over double the amount of leads she was before the automation existed, which has allowed me to delay bringing on another salesperson and save us in another salary. We have third-party lead generation where we actually purchase leads from large organizations. So that's one way that we enter all of those leads into LeadSquared and we work them through the entire sales pipeline. The other way is through business development efforts. So when those phone calls come in, we had migrated to CTM or call tracking metrics when we started with LeadSquared. And through that integration, which LeadSquared built for us, it's as simple as clicking a button, the profile is created then in LeadSquared, and then again, we're able to take them all the way through to the point where we have a signed service agreement, and then they're converted into a client profile and moved on to a different Teams instance. So the process was extensive, but again, it helped us really define our workflows, understanding what are the forms we want to use and how do we want those forms to interact, and what are the different touch points on the sales pipeline or journey, and what kind of automations do we want at each level. So our instance now is so heavily automated that we put in one of those referrals, and within 5 minutes, they're getting text messages and emails, and based on their response or lack of response to those, they get a different set of text messages and emails all the way through the very first week of when we get a lead that comes into us. They're fantastic. Everything integrates very seamlessly. A phone call comes in, we're able to capture information quickly, move very quickly. There's a click of a button to open a profile in LeadSquared to get right there. In addition to that, we have integrated through Dropbox site. We are connected to our caregiver application and our scheduling software, which is Schedulo. LeadSquared's been able to integrate with everything. The team is really great. If you have someone technical on your end or work with the development team to really help figure out, what is the best way to get this information? How often do we want to pull or push data? And that's been just really, really helpful. So LeadSquared remains our source of truth, and we're pushing data. One thing I love about LeadSquared is the platform is pretty easy to use once you've learned it. One of my favorite things about LeadSquared is the support team gets right back to you. They're usually able very quickly to identify like, oh, you need to check this box or this button. My CSM has been very instrumental in getting me everything I need so that I never have to worry. I never have to wonder, how do I solve this? They're really great partners. One of my favorite things about LeadSquared is, unlike any platform I've ever worked with, they really anticipate the needs of their clients. So when I'm thinking about a feature that would be really helpful, I see it rolled out within a couple months without having to ever say anything. And like Sierra would be the thing I would talk about. It's what I've been talking about to everyone. The reporting functionality specifically was something that was lacking for us. And that was mostly because our instance was so customized that we weren't using the out-of-the-box stages. We had built in all of our own because we have 3 different contact types that we're storing. So some of the reporting didn't work the way that I was hoping it would. And not only did my CSM give me and create for me the reports that I needed, so I had the dashboards I needed, I just got the demo of Sierra, which is like a dream come true for a data nerd like me, where I'm now able to see across all of my leads, across my active clients, across my active employees, everything that's stored in there, any piece of data that I need, presented any way that I need. It makes it really helpful as we're doing our fundraising to have dashboards that are always up to date and can track everything. It allows you to keep the staff you have, let them focus on the things that they really should be focusing on. Client engagement, building those relationships and not having to do like the tedious or duplicate entry in 3 different systems. Unwavering support and dedicated focus to allow you to really scale your business easily. And a lot of the breaking points that you normally find when you're trying to scale or go from small to big, LeadSquared eliminates a lot of those pain points.